Harper's.
What's his problem with Harper's?
He's got history with them too.
All right, let's go.
Excuse me. I'm still alive.
Right. What's your favorite book?
Hard to pick just one.
That's the question, right?
Yep.
In terms of historical works, I'd say the Fanged Tome of Lykanthus Szar. That was only the fourth question. Hello? Oh, shit.
In terms of how you'd set up traps for burrowing creatures.
Right. So you can see that right there.
Yep. It's
The
a big
Fanged
lie.
Tome of Lykanthus Szar. Is it just a lie? It's not his.
No, it's the description is correct. And if you scroll up, let's see the history. It was a treasure in Blackstaff Tower. That's all true.
Right.
And Yep. He thought it
That's all
was
it
his
says.
favorite book. The only thing that is not true on there, can you scroll back up again? The only thing that is not true is that first bit in blue that says it was a book of magic.
Oh, but it also says it was written, but it was written by Lykanthus Szar. That's right.
Yes, it
Okay.
was. So
Okay, the
it's
Fanged
not a
Tome.
magical book, even though some copies have magic in them.
Okay, so that's where the mistake is. Okay.
Yeah, it's a book.
All right.
It's a book of hunting tactics. It's a book of how to survive a bear attack.
A bear
or,
attack and
how to avoid being noticed by peritons when you're up in the mountains. Stuff like
that's true.
stuff that the dwarves will teach you, and how to skin a periton, which is pretty tricky when you're dealing with fur and feathers
Right.
as part of the pelt.
And a big rack too, right?
Oh yeah. Well,
Don't you remember?
yeah, we'll leave that
Curry
to
summoned
Ed.
one. Curry summoned one of those. Didn't you summon a Periton?
In Eric's game?
Yeah.
Yeah. we did
Early on, you did when we
that.
were.
No. We were fighting one in.
We were fighting the Peritons when we were in the,
Before we entered the halls of the Whirling Blades proper. We were still up in the
That's right.
bridges
Wow.
area.
Yeah.
We were
That's
fighting
what I mean.
one.
Now, no, we fought him. You did I don't remember what it was. It was
Cast
some
a
kind of-
magical ram spell.
Yeah, but it came
Yeah.
in the form of a giant elk or something like that, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And plus, the Peritons were flying around the spinning castle for us too. You weren't there, but
Oh,
you
God,
know you
that's
were there at
right,
Gen
yeah.
Con, so you did see that part. Yeah. So anyway,
Mhm.
and, so this whole thing about it being a book of magic is just a bunch of lies.
Misinterpretations, we'll say.
You mean- Yeah. So well, apparently all this is Kelvin's fault.
Not all of it, no, but he certainly helped it along once he saw the opportunity. Sure.
Really? Oh yeah. No. Yeah. He's a lycanthrope. Yeah, he
Well,
is. He's a
see,
werewolf. Okay.
The one thing that the fact that he didn't get a name for himself until he was, after he died the first time.
What do you mean the first
Um,
time?
Well, yeah, he's died several times, but
Oh, you mean Kelvin or Lykanthus Szar?
no, Kelvin. Lykanthus
Kelvin- oh,
are
yeah,
one
yeah,
and
yeah.
done.
Yeah, Lykanthus Szar was done. No, Kelvin's like Elminster. You can't put a good wizard down.
Yeah, he was that. But
Well, until you
no,
did.
but one of the reasons why Kelvin spread a lot of the rumors about it is because the thing that annoyed him the most from the youngest age is lazy and entitled people that he had to deal with.
Mm.
And so he's in a city of learning and a city of brotherhood, but he's not feeling the brotherhood because all the elves are just ripping him up one way or the other, and disrespecting him and his father and his family. So he just keeps his nose to the grindstone and he studies and he learns and he reads and he just can't stand it when there's so many people around him. And this carries on through the centuries of his life. If you're a lazy researcher, he's going to make sure that bites you in the ass hard. And that's why he liked to write all sorts of false histories, or at least tweak it just enough and leave it vague enough that people will make assumptions.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that's where they assume, oh, well, this is where lycanthropy comes from. Yeah, well, if
He's
all
just
you
like,
did
sure,
was read the
why not?
Cliff's Notes rather than the actual sources, sure, you can believe that. Yeah.
He's just like he's like, sure, okay, sure, whatever you say.
Yeah.
Well,
I
why
mean,
would he do that about Lykanthus Szar when he had the book? It was a great book, like you said. It helped a lot of probably one of those Ranger 101 reading when you're training to learn how to,
Oh
looking by
yeah.
scat and tracks and fur and
Well,
whatever.
yeah, and it's not one of those books that it's been in print forever, but it's definitely one that it will stay in print for a generation or two and then
Right.
go out of print, and then somebody will find an old copy, bring it back into print. And so there are several different editions of that book in Blackstaff Towers libraries, in the Harpo family, all over. There's probably at least a score of different editions in Waterdeep alone, let alone all the other cities or countries.
So I got a question then. Was Lykanthus Szar in Mythdraenor when he wrote it?
Yes.
Okay, so
And
the
the
copy
main
that
reason he was in the city when he wrote it is because he was gravely injured.
yeah, of course.
Yeah. See,
But
one
the
thing that
copy
motivates you to write on how to protect yourself from animal attacks is
is
when
being
one
attacked by an
bites your
animal.
foot off.
So Kelvin was learning to bind a book. Did he just take the book that was already written and bound it into fangs, or was it Lykanthus Szar that was learning how to bind it and he did it as a fang tome?
No, Lykanthus Czar, it was probably, I think the original manuscript is three or four, no, four separate things, all, very loose sheafs, but, with tanned animal hides as the covers.
But what did
So
did Lykanthus Szar call it the fang tome, or is that what Kelvin called it?
he called it the Fang Tome, or at least that was the title that once all the manuscripts were put together in one book and with his name on it, it was called
Okay,
the Fang Tome.
the fang tome.
The general cover, for instead of, this is the a treatise on animals and hunting in the north, and
Yeah,
this
so
is
I was wondering if the original title was something boring like that, surviving the
yeah,
Underdark or surviving
yeah.
the Cormanther by looking at scat. you know,
Yeah. Well, and yeah, a lot of the chapters probably are what's ended up becoming the chapter titles are probably what he called each of the particular sections. Like, here's like different editions will arrange it differently. Like there are probably editions that strictly keep with these are creatures that are in the local area. So,
right, right.
if you commissioned a copy to be put together for your nephew who is dying to get out of these confining walls and go out and become a ranger. Well, all right, fine. Will you
So
copy down
so
that information and keep this kid alive a little longer?
so
And he
so the
doesn't need to know
library in
about gnomish hunting. He just
right.
needs to know about things that are in the savage frontier or whatever.
So the library of Cormanther
Hmm.
or Camanthere, however you want to pronounce it, is would it have just the loose bindings of the original Fang Tome, and then anybody could come in and request copies and put it together any way they wanted to?
Yeah.
Okay.
The information is there and it had been copied down, but like I said, the original handwritten manuscript that Lykanthus Czar himself drew in, wrote down, that singular original manuscript is in the hands of sorry, let me dig through. I know it's one of the elven houses and I just can't remember which one, so let me look for a sec. And of course, yeah. Clan Nightstar.
La 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 la.